The depth of the scamming and cheating in Rise of Kingdoms goes so far beyond what I ever could have imagined, and thanks to a number of people who wish to remain anonymous, I have a shocking amount of information to share with you today about the cheaters and scammers of Rise of Kingdoms. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and recently, in fact, just yesterday, I made a video talking about how people were scamming you out of money with really what you could consider it social engineering, where you convince someone to give you your account information and some money, and you pack load on their behalf, and then pull the rug out from underneath them, refunding everything, and the account gets pwned when Lilith figures out everything's been refunded. But this stuff I'm going to share with you today makes all of that just seem trivial, like a joke. Oh, they got a social engineering scam? Well, guess what? This is way worse. Today, I'm going to talk about three things, maybe three, maybe more. One is powering up an alliance with refunded gold chests. Another is endless gems that you refund. And another is actually something I discredited because I didn't think was real. I thought it was a rumor. And I'm being told now that actually it was true. I also want to say very clearly at the start of the video that I cannot prove or disprove definitively in any way any of the things that I'm going to share with you in this video. I've got evidence from people that came forward, which presumably is true, but maybe some of it isn't, or all of it isn't, or I don't know. I'm just telling you about all of these things to protect you from getting into the same situations that these players seem to have found themselves in or gotten themselves into. And, well, let's just get started, shall we? So let's start with the first thing, which I have up on the screen. And this blows my mind. Now, okay, if you refund on your main account, for those of you that don't know, Lilith will give you all of the things that you refund as a negative item. If you bought gold heads, you lose that many gold heads, and if you're down to 0, you go negative on gold heads, which means you couldn't apply any until you bought more and got back into the positive. The same is true for gem tokens, for resources, the whole kit and caboodle. But if you did all of the buying on, let's say, an account you don't care about, and then refund on that, the Alliance still gets the gold chest. In Rise of Kingdoms, when you make a purchase, your whole Alliance gets a benefit. You can see Mini Whale purchased a whole bunch of things over here. And here's some more. These pictures were shared with me. Things that Mini Whale bought. But Mini Whale must be this high-powered, incredibly strong governor in Rise of Kingdoms. But no, it is a brand new account where they're just going to go and refund everything that they've purchased. Gross. This is a 76,000 power account, not a 760 million power account, or even a 76 million power account. So maybe these screenshots were doctored, but it stands to reason that people have probably been cheating in a long time in Rise of Kingdoms, gold chest loading alliances, giving them the speed ups and gold keys and VIP necessary to go beat their enemies. And that is the most outrageous cheating. Because not only are, not only are you scamming Lilith, but also you're scamming all the players on the opposing side who have to fight these cheater accounts. And not only that, but you're cheating and scamming the members of your own alliance, who may not even realize that they're getting pack loaded. Although, how do you not notice an account drop in, pay for $5,000 to $6,000 worth of stuff? By the way, each of these gold chests to get one costs $100. How do you not notice that this is happening in an alliance? Why does no one say anything? I don't know, to some extent or some amount of the people who you might consider to be just innocent bystanders actually complicit in not asking, how did all these gold chests suddenly show up? But maybe so many people do this in these alliances that they're just used to it raining gold chests and don't ask any questions as to where the heck are they coming from. And what a mistake that this person has not made it anonymous. You can go into the game and make it anonymous when you make a purchase, but they didn't, and they got caught. And that is perhaps how they've been getting away with it for as long as they did. Because, if it's anonymous, you wouldn't know who's making the gold chest. It could be lots of different players that are going and making all these purchases. GG. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. Because this scheme, this scam, is something that I don't know how Lilith will crack down on. Presumably, they could make your whole alliance lose some amount of rewards and speed ups and VIP and gold keys and silver keys randomly, based off of the number of gold chests you got from the scammers. I don't know, but I'm sure Lilith could come up with something, given perhaps how widespread this is, and I would not want to participate in this. Let me be really clear. I am telling you about these things to warn you of the scams that are happening in Rise of Kingdoms right now, so that you are not caught in the middle of it, like perhaps an innocent bystander in this alliance who does not realize that their alliance is about to get mega pwned, invalidating their victories up to that point and more, locking accounts, because when you refund on an account, right, I told you you get all that stuff negative. There is a little more to it. Let me show you a picture. If you go too far in the negative, and a lot of information has been stripped away from this screenshot in order to protect player identities, it will say that the character has been restricted due to refund abuse, unable to perform actions. You can't leave your city if you do a bunch of refunding, which is why doing this gold chest refund thing is really good to do on a account where you don't care about it. You're just throwing it away. The whole point is just load a bunch of gold chests into Alliance, dump off your resources. You could transfer resources to people, like all that stuff. And maybe those resources get clawed back, but maybe they don't. I don't know, because I haven't participated in any of this, and I haven't tested any of this myself, because I don't want to get caught anywhere in the crossfire when Lilith cracks down on all these cheaters, man. Because every one of them is going to get pwned. It's just a matter of when. So your account gets completely pwned, and I do have one more picture here showing the system flags you for refund abuse, which is a part of the reason that you get super wrecked and you can't even leave your city, because it's one thing to refund, and there are systems in play in the game that, like, oh, okay, you refunded a purchase, well, let me just claw back the items, but then too much of it, and it's refund abuse, and that's a different level of wrecked, as I was just showing you. At this moment in time, I have about 130,000 gems, which is actually a pretty large amount of gems in Rise of Kingdoms. I spend a lot of money in this game. But there are people in this next scam who took it to a whole nother level of scamming, far beyond the whole gold chest loading for an alliance, because this scam, what they did is they put millions and millions and millions and millions of gems onto their account. I am talking tens of millions of gems onto their account. And they've all been caught recently. At least that's what I'm gathering. That's what people are telling me, informing me that, hey, this doesn't work anymore, but since you made a video yesterday, I want to tell you about this. So how is it that you could get dozens of millions of gems onto your account? And this took place, by the way, I'm told, for a year before the scam was busted. And the scam, to my knowledge, has been busted. Again, I will remind you, I do not work at Lilith, so I cannot say definitively what has or has not happened. I am informing you based off of the copious evidence that multiple people have sent me, by the way. And I have seen a lot of screenshots that I'm not even sharing because I was told, please do not share these. I will prove to you this is real, but I do not want this information to in any way come back to me, and I think it might, so I'm like, people are getting kind of skittish, okay? So what is the scam? Apparently, someone wrote a tool where you go into the command prompt on your computer. That's right, the command prompt. Most people don't even know what that is, and you run this program. And in that program, you enter receipt information for purchases that you made from the shop in Rise of Kingdoms. And when you do that, it would refund you. But it would refund you in a way that somehow Lilith wouldn't be able to trace who was doing the refund. Now, this is sort of weird, and I guess somehow Lilith figured out that this was going on and was able to identify now who these people are, because it's a gigantic scam. But my understanding here is that you would enter in that information, and you could only do this through Google Play, so through Google, and also through PayPal and maybe a couple of other methods, but not Apple. For whatever reason, you couldn't do this through Apple. But if you were making your purchase through, you know, like an emulator, so it's really easy to go and do this on your PC, right? Then you enter the receipt information, all of it will get refunded to you. Now, someone didn't make this tool out of the goodness of their heart. They didn't make it so that people could cheat Lilith and have lots of gems, which To my understanding, these players are all pwned on their accounts. They can't leave their city. They are so far in debt, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. By the way, you may be wondering, like, okay, what would, like, 50 million gems run you? 50 million gems would run you $200,000. $200,000. $200,000 USD. Gross, man. So what would incentivize someone to go so all in on this scam, by the way? Why not something more modest? Something a little less obvious that maybe you are cheating? Well, the reason is that, as I said, the person who made this tool wasn't doing it out of the goodness of their heart. To get access to this tool, which would refund you anonymously, you would pay 10,000 US dollars. Which, when you think about spending in Rise of Kingdoms, heck, I made a spending video showing you exactly how much I've spent. I do one every year at the end of the year. I'll have a card up in the top for my last one. I think I spent over $30,000 legit last year in Rise of Kingdoms. And this is why I try to do like as much of my spending as possible on stream and show you like, look, I'm buying gems. Like, this is really happening. Because apparently for about a year, this has been going on. And how did Lilith find out? You may be wondering, how suddenly does Lilith know? And it is able to tie back, like, who is doing the purchasing and the refunding and all of this? Well, apparently, somebody went into the official Rise of Kingdoms Discord to advertise the service. GG, man. Wow. So somebody went into the official Rise of Kingdoms Discord, Lilith, upon receiving that information. I'm sure they must have been looking at refund data and been wondering, like, gosh, why do we have this, like, all of this unattributable refunding? Because if one person over the course of a year could easily rack up $200,000 worth of refunding, then, like, how many people are using this thing? 100? Right? So the person who would have made this thing has made how much money now selling the tool? And how much has Lilith been scammed out of from refunds? And how many of us have suffered battling against these players in KVKs? Wow. Okay. I mean, the accounts are pwned, but what about, how many of my KVK losses are actually KVK losses, and how many of them were against players that had limitless stuff? GG, man. So there is more, though, because we're not done yet. You may recall on my channel, I made a video. Let me show you. I called it the Gem Sellers Scam and Rise of Kingdoms and Other Rumors. And I was informed that this particular Gem Sellers scam that I'm talking about in this video, where there was this screenshot floating around. Let me get you more pictures. Yeah, here I am from the video. I have been told, and I cannot confirm this, I can't confirm anything that I'm telling you in this video, other than the fact that we know a lot of people just got banned recently for gem selling, or not gem selling, for refunding. And weirdly, I cannot technically confirm anything in this video beyond what I'm being told. A, because although people have offered to run an account through the tool for me so I could see how it works, I have refused because I don't want to have my IP address. I don't want to have anything remotely that could tie back to me in any way linked with this stuff. Like, so I'm not going to personally go validate the veracity of some of this stuff, but like, given the screenshots I'm looking at, like these do not look doctored. I've seen videos where, like, it would be really hard. This is not some like Photoshop job. It would be really hard, I think, for this stuff to be fake. Okay. What I am told is that this was actually also true, but that this method that would like send you this mail with a bunch of gems had an extremely high likelihood that you would get caught and thus the account banned. And so it was a waste of money. Exactly as I said in the video, it's a waste of money, not because it was fake, but because you would probably get caught, which maybe is worse because now you've got a bad mark on your account. RIP? I don't know, man. The whole thing is completely insane. And the moral of the story here is that you shouldn't be cheating in these games. Like, don't spend money you don't have. And if somebody offers you a cheat, that affects people way beyond you. That affects Lilith. But more importantly, that affects all of us, the players, who are not cheating. The people who spend and spend honestly have those achievements undermined by virtue of cheaters, because all these people are doing things that actually they can't do, they haven't done, and would never have been able to do. So where does this leave us in Rise of Kingdoms? I mean, the good news, as I understand it, is that all of the cheats that I've described have some amount of crackdown from Lilith, and they're aware of them. So if the crackdown isn't savage yet, I have to imagine it will only get more savage. I have to think that to some extent, some number of these people, especially the people who created these tools, will get hunted down for some amount of legal action. And if they get caught, GG, bro. Whew. And I wonder how many of the people who purchase those sorts of tools and access to those sorts of things will turn around and offer that information in exchange for some amount of amnesty or restoration of their account, or I don't even know, man. All I know is that if somebody approaches you with something that sounds too good to be true, do not participate. I will say the only place to make an in-game purchase is in-game. And the only time there has been a slight exception to that was when there was a deal through the Google Play Store. But that is an official deal listed officially in the Google Play Store. I'll have a card up in the top for when that happened and what that looked like, and I haven't seen anything like it since, because that was gangbusters. And even that, by the way, people found a way to abuse, but they still were paying money. They just were getting way too much double gems. Gosh, that's almost a different story entirely, where you could do the promotion beyond the 3 times that they said you could do it. So some amount of people bought a ridiculous amount of double gems, but that's more on, I think that's more on behalf of Lilith to clean up the way that that promotion worked, or Google to work and properly limit the way that promotion worked, rather than like technically scamming, which like everything I've talked about in this video, other than like that Google Play promotion, was actually scamming and cheating. And the refund abuse, it's really gross, man. Leave a comment down below if there's anything that you want to share. I have seen just a truly shocking amount of evidence over the last 24 hours because of people who've come forward. So thank you to those of you who have brought forth this information. I don't know what you do for these alliances of people that are cheating, or people that are cheating within alliances and the alliances don't know about it. But I would not want to be involved in anything like that at all, man. Because when those people get caught, in a best case, it's the end of your account. In a worst case, I don't know, man. But until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies, and thank you for not cheating in Rise of Kingdoms.